Hello, welcome to this midweek movie vlog. It's not a Friday night ritual, but it kind of is in the middle of the week. I'm going to watch a film, have some dinner, talk about the film afterwards, and the film is, of course, you've already seen it in the thumbnail, no doubt, Batman the Killing Joke. This just came in today from Amazon France. A little bit of background on this. I saw that it was coming out as a steelbook all over the world, but in France on Amazon they had it for like €13. And I thought that's a really good price, but I didn't pre-order it. And when I went back to pre-order it a few weeks later, it was up to like €35. I thought, oh shit, it's selling out. So I've missed the boat on that one. I'm not going to pay that much for it. So oh well, I missed out. Right. And then I checked it again about a week ago, and it went back to I think €15. So without VAT added, it came up to €12.50. So I jumped on it, I snapped it up, and it's a fantastic steelbook. I wasn't expecting much. I have, I think, the steelbook of Assault on Arkham, another one of the DC, what do they call it, the DC Universe original animated movie. And the steelbook was like a metal pack. The back of it was like a printed back with all French writing. It just wasn't very good. I mean, it was okay, but it just, it was a bit disappointing. This one, it's just phenomenal. Like, I was really surprised when I opened this up and saw that it was, there's no French on it. The spine is in the right direction, and it's, I mean, just look at the front. It's fantastic. Great artwork. The background is like matte, and as you can see by the reflection, you can kind of see that the actual image of the Joker there is glossy. And so it's a really nice effect. Like, brilliant. Though if Dennis is watching this, he definitely wouldn't find this steelbook satisfactory. It had the J card wrapped over it with glue, and it was stuck on there so much that there's some kind of glue residue scuff marks on the top, just above the title, unfortunately. But I love that front image. Obviously, the iconic image from the graphic novel itself. But the back artwork, look at that. That is just phenomenal. I love it. It's brilliant. And even down to the inside artwork, which is not something I was really thought would be any good, but here you have it. If we can get a good angle, look at that. You got the classic image of the Joker there. I think it's a frame from the film, and then just the disc. I love the disc artwork. How the white, it really it really complements the rest of the package, I think. So yeah, I'm absolutely in love with this steelbook. But will I be in love with the film? That is the question. Everyone was anticipating this for a very long time. I know I was for years. Zaran Isaac recently reviewed this and said that this kind of completes the big three, and I completely agree with him. What he's saying is that we've had Batman Year One as a DC Universe original animated movie. We've had The Dark Knight Returns, the two-part epic, and this one was the last of the great kind of seminal 80s Batman comics that needed to be adapted into an animated film. Though, there's been a lot of controversy around what they actually did with this, which I'll get to later on. But I'm intrigued to see it for myself. I know that this has an added prologue, an extended, lengthy one surrounding Batgirl, which is not in The Killing Joke, that they've added to kind of pad it out a little bit. The Killing Joke is not very long to begin with. So I can kind of see why they did it maybe, but I just have to judge it for myself and see how it plays. But the big selling point here for me is that we have Kevin Conroy returning as Batman. We have Mark Hamill returning as the Joker. The two guys who did those iconic characters so much justice in the original Batman the Animated Series, which I haven't seen much of. Kill me now. I'm still trying to find a way to get the complete set and watch all of it, but I haven't got around to it yet. But I've seen the movies they've done, like Mask of the Phantasm, the Batman Superman movie, the animated one, and the Arkham games. I mean, the Arkham games are just masterpieces in my opinion. And after those, Mark Hamill said, "That's it, I retire as the Joker." But if they do the Killing Joke, I'll be there. And you all heard that story by now. But I'm so glad that they did it and that they brought Mark Hamill in, and I can't wait to hear those iconic lines from the Joker as delivered by Mark Hamill and also Kevin Conroy, who I think is just one of the best Batmans. Like, his voice is just the perfect Batman voice. I'll always say, to me, Michael Keaton is my favorite Batman. I think he's the best Batman live action. But you can't beat Kevin Conroy when it comes to the voice. To me, he is the voice of Batman and always will be. So anyway, I'm going to cook some food. On the menu tonight is some tacos. I've been doing good with my diet and stuff. Last Saturday, a few days ago, me and Connie went out, had kind of our first real cheat day over the past couple of months. Went out, had a burger and fries, bought some sweets. I got a bottle of Dr. Pepper. You know, we really just let ourselves go, but we didn't go mental either. You know, we were still kind of being, you know, portioning and things like that. Went out to see Finding Dory in the cinema, which just came out here. You heard that right, it just came out here in the cinema, yeah. And that was a great cinema experience, well, mostly, and maybe I'll get into that in another video. Let me know if you want to hear my story of going to see Finding Dory, but we're going to concentrate on Batman in this one. But yeah, and also having all that stuff on Saturday, today, now, or yesterday even, which is kind of my weigh-in day every week, I got back down to the weight I was before the Saturday and the cheat day, so I'm really happy with myself that I managed to kind of get right back on it on Sunday and get that weight back down, which, you know, I probably put on something, eating all that shit on Saturday. Wasn't even that much, but, you know, compared to what I've been doing the past couple of months. So for dinner tonight I'm having tacos, beef tacos, which isn't the healthiest thing to eat, and is definitely the most unhealthy meal I have on a semi-regular basis, but I feel definitely like I deserve it, so I'm looking forward to it. Although this morning I went to the shop to buy some lettuce, and yeah, every single like head of lettuce was just like in a right state. It was just filthy. There were flies inside the bags were all open, and on one of them there was some hair growing out of it. I shit you not, it looked like a tuft of blonde hair growing out of one of the leaves of lettuce. I mean, I still feel sick to my stomach thinking about it, so I had to go to a whole other shop to find another head of lettuce that looked at least somewhat okay to kind of go with the vegetables in the tacos I'm going to be having. But yeah, I hate that. I love lettuce, but you know, when you open it up and there's like a slug in there, like it kills me. It really does. It just goes it goes through my entire body 3 times over, and then leaves me just feeling like I want to just crawl into a corner and just cry myself to sleep for a week. I'm going to cook the food now, and to save some time, I won't show you me cooking it. We'll get right into the film and right into hopefully a good animated DC original universe movie straight to video experience. Here we go. Alright guys, you know the drill. We've got tortillas, we've got the beef, we've got the sour cream, salsa, some lettuce and some cucumber, and some of these hard shells to put in for a bit of crunchy extra consistency. And here we go. Batman the Killing Joke. Illegal! It is also the first rated R DC animated movie, which is interesting. Under 17.
First of all, I realize this is probably not how you thought the story would start. A big, shiny movie.
Bit of self-referential humour there. Alright, 28 minutes into The Killing Joke, and The Killing Joke starts. The prologue was, I think it was 28 minutes. Yeah, 28 minutes, and dinner was great. I'm full up now. I'm going to just snack on the rest of the cucumber and lettuce. Don't usually have that much in the tacos themselves, but I always finish the bowl as a kind of like a light snack afterwards. I don't know whether to comment on this prologue to the film. I mean, people were saying it was a prologue. I mean, it's almost half the film. You know, it's at least a third. So, well, yeah, it's more than a third of the film. So, I guess it isn't really a prologue as it is the beginning. But knowing The Killing Joke and knowing where it starts now and where it's going to go, I've heard that it's very faithful to The Killing Joke once The Killing Joke starts. It feels the beginning feels quite disjointed. If I'd gone in to see this in the cinema, I know they did like a one-day, one-off theatrical screening of this. If I'd gone into that without knowing any of the reviews, knowing about this Batgirl backstory stuff, I would have thought, is this the wrong film? Because there's no Joker, there's no hint of him, there's no mention of him, there's nothing, you know. It's a Joker story. You know, I'm not sure if the original comic was called Batman the Killing Joke, but I mean, I'm looking at the Steelbook and it's Batman the Killing Joke. So, I don't know, but to me it's a Joker story, but I don't know. Yeah, it was just an interesting beginning. It's not bad, the first 30 minutes, but it isn't great either. You know, Batgirl has this, Barbara Gordon, she has this gay best friend who, you know, is fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but I felt like the character was just so stock and stereotypical. You know, there's a moment where she gets kind of, she has a bit of a kind of a hissy fit and storms off, and he goes, this gay character, he goes, and I thought the gay scene was complicated. What? I couldn't believe that I just saw that. Like, really? We're still going to that? I mean, I know there are people like that, but it just seemed like such a generalization of what a gay person is like. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to ring true to me that that's what gay people talk like. I don't know. You know, you get into a whole kettle of fish with that, but it was just a bad kind of weak character to begin with. Just a side character for her to kind of bounce off someone to talk about her frustrations with her relationship with Batman. There's I mean, it's played very seriously. There's some nice music throughout. I guess I'm just reviewing the first 30 minutes, but it's played very seriously to show this relationship between Batman and Batgirl that they had before we get to the Killing Joke, where she's no longer Batgirl and she's Barbara Gordon, because she is a pivotal role of the Killing Joke. So I get why they've done this, but there was like a couple of gags in there, but I almost felt like there were parts where it was funny where it wasn't meant to be. You know, that the main bad guy of the first 30 minutes is called Paris, France, and it's like, really? I mean, they kind of play it as a gag, but then it's just like, you know, there's a heated moment where she's like, you know, we got to talk about Paris, France, you know, and it just sounded ridiculous. There's a moment where she's on the rooftop, Batman comes to comfort her and he holds a cup of coffee. Like, it just made me laugh. Then there's the sex scene where she's mad at Batman, she kicks his ass, she jumps on top of him, and then she goes, ooh, and she starts kissing him, she takes her top off, you know. It just felt like a titillating kind of fulfilling the fantasies of guys who like the character. And again, she takes the top off, you know, they're about to have sex, camera pans up to this like gargoyle looking down on them, and again, it was played as a serious moment, but I just the image of this gargoyle like just creeping on them having sex, and you know, it was starting to get a bit worn out, even over a 30-minute, you know, series of scenes. It felt like we saw Batman and Batgirl meet, you know, in the middle of the night, and Batman say, "You're off the case," like at least 3 times. You know, it's just been revoked. Like, it became a cliche within itself, you know, by the end of that 30 minutes, you know, you're off the case. The voice acting was great from the girl who does Batgirl and Kevin Conroy. The animation is interesting. You can tell where they've cut corners, where it's a little cheap, but it still looks good. There was a terrible amount of artifacting on the back of Batman's head in this one shot. It looked like I downloaded it looked like I downloaded this film in 1080p, and the file size was like 90 megabytes in that one shot. Just the back of Batman's head, it was just all noisy and blocky, and I just was really disappointed by that. Blu-rays look fine otherwise, and we're now getting into the Killing Joke. It's now starting. I'm hoping that this is going to be better, and I'll see where, you know, I feel like that opening prologue fits into the whole thing once the film is over. But right now, it feels like it may have been an ill-advised move. It was a fine story for what it was, but I mean, it definitely, 30 minutes, it felt like an episode of an animated series, you know. It didn't feel like the beginning of a movie. But then again, will the knowing kind of the emotional weight of her relationship with Batman, will that factor into the things that happen to her later on in this? I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to continue and come back to you when I've finished. Alright, I'm done with The Killing Joke. I just finished it now. That really is a tale of 2 movies in a way. Yeah, that the whole second piece, the Killing Joke section, was just incredible. I thought it was brilliant. I loved it. There was no minor characters that were annoying. There wasn't a stock villain like that Paris, France guy. There was no artifacting on any of the animation. Yeah, and it really felt like a faithful adaptation of the original story, which is, you know, for the record, incredible. I have The Killing Joke, one of the kind of like hardcover, like deluxe editions. It's just a gorgeously illustrated piece, and obviously well written as well by Alan Moore, who doesn't really like people adapting his work. I don't think he approved of this, or maybe he did, but his name isn't even in the credits. So, you know, regardless. The Killing Joke, a seminal Batman piece, and now kind of a seminal Batman animated movie if you take out the first 28 minutes. It's interesting. Did they just, should they have just gone with making that 45-minute version of this and just releasing it like that, or would a 45-minute long film feel like it's shortchanging people, or would it feel like they couldn't charge as much money for it? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts if you've seen it. I mean, most people seem to really not like the prologue. I understand that, and I still don't even buy calling it a prologue, because it's almost it's over a third of the film. It's weird because I really felt like I was watching two films. I mean, we end the prologue with Barbara kind of denouncing her role as Batgirl and saying goodbye to Batman. Off she goes. We fade out. We fade in. We see Barbara again about like a minute later, and it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt jarring for some strange reason, and I didn't feel like at any point during the Killing Joke portion of the Killing Joke that the prologue made me feel any more horror than I already did at what happens to Barbara in the story. So I don't know. I mean, for some people it may work, and that's fine. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, and anyone who thinks it does is wrong. I just, the first 28 minutes, they were decent. Nothing more. And at times bad as well, I will say. It wasn't bad completely, but there were bad moments too, I think. And I don't think it really added to the overall thing, because really you're looking at this idea of what it is to be crazy, and the psychology between Batman and the Joker, and seeing maybe the Joker's origin. I love how towards the end there he says that, sometimes I remember it one way, sometimes I remember it the other. If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice. Classic line. And this thing is full of classic lines, and once Mark Hamill gets into this, holy shit, this kicks into high gear. It is just a joy to hear Mark Hamill say the lines from The Killing Joke, and that is worth the price of admission alone. He did a phenomenal job, as always, but like, just the laughing he had down so well. There's just some fantastic kind of moments recreated, almost identical from the comic. But it's really hard to judge it with that prologue at the beginning. It really is. And like Zaran Isaac was saying in his review, I mean, you can just skip the prologue when you watch the film, and that's it. You can totally do that. But it has everything there, right down to the iconic ending, which is always subject to debate to people about what actually happened in that ending. I don't know what I believe, but they certainly lean more towards that ambiguous ending, because I had the subtitles on, and if you know what I'm talking about, it kind of says something that kind of hints towards the theory that people have. Now, Alan Moore has said that what most people think happens at the end of Killing Joke isn't what happens, but I like that it's up in the air like that, and I like that it's open to interpretation. And if you know the end of this film, if you know the end of the comic, I should say, of course, and you wonder what I'm talking about, or you haven't heard anyone talk about the theory in depth, I highly recommend you go on YouTube and just Google Grant Morrison and Killing Joke, because he kind of sums up the popular theory very well on one of Kevin Smith's podcasts, and it's kind of fascinating to listen to. Whether you believe it or not, it's fun to kind of play around with the idea of that, I think. But yeah, they nailed it. They didn't hold anything back. I mean, Joker was so sinister in this, and there were some really dark moments there. Sexual darkness and violence. They went all in with this, and they didn't compromise the original story, which I'm grateful for. And I think it was, again, the Killing Joke portion of this was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Can't say more good things about it. And Mark Hamill probably needs to shut up now about retiring as the Joker, because oh, I'm retired as the Joker, he came back again. Oh, right, I'm retired as the Joker. Unless they do the Killing Joke, I'll come back for that. And apparently Warner Brothers were like, hey, The Force Awakens is coming out soon. Mark Hamill's going to be a popular name again. Let's get the Killing Joke done. Let's put him in it and kind of capitalize on that resurgence. So they've done that. And so Mark Hamill says, yeah, I'll come back for the Killing Joke, but this is going to be my last time doing it. And now he said again, he's going to come back again with Kevin Conroy to do something like just some Justice League TV show on the Cartoon Network. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether he'll keep on playing the Joker forever and keep kind of saying that he's done with it, but either way, I feel like this is a perfect swan song. I can't see him fitting into a big Joker project again, like an Arkham Asylum, like an Arkham City, like The Killing Joke, you know. And part of me wishes that he'd done like the Joker in The Dark Knight Returns and all that kind of thing. And also, the guy who played Commissioner Gordon in this I didn't think was great, Ray Wise, I believe. It would have been awesome. Would have been awesome if they'd brought back Bryan Cranston to do Gordon, because he was fantastic in year one, and there'd be some nice continuity between those two. But yeah, I think that Kevin Conroy was solid as hell as Batman as usual, just perfect. Mark Hamill steals the show with that amazing dialogue. He really sunk his teeth into it. And Tara Strong as Batgirl Barbara Gordon. I didn't realize it was Tara Strong, and she is the woman of 1,000 voices. She really is. I mean, even knowing now that it's her, I don't feel like it was her, because I mean, she goes from doing, you know, the Powerpuff Girls to Harley Quinn, you know, to this, where she just sounds completely different. She's a hell of a voice actress, and I thought that she was really good as Batgirl in this. So there we go. Killing Joke. I really enjoyed it. I don't know whether I will just skip the prologue in the future. I don't feel like it was terrible, but it definitely didn't fit with. I mean, you know, I felt like we had an episode, a standard episode of an animated Batman show that was, you know, middling to decent. And then after that, we had a proper Batman animated film based on one of the classic Batman stories, and so it kind of doesn't fit. They don't fit together, I don't think. But I still really loved it, and we'll revisit it time and time again, I think. Mainly just for that Mark Hamill stuff. So there we go. Thank you for watching. Leave me your thoughts down below about this. I know it's been polarizing. Don't hold back. Let me know exactly what you thought of The Killing Joke. As a Batman fan, as a fan of the original graphic novel The Killing Joke, I'm very satisfied. I'm just kind of scratching my head a bit over you know, the decision to include that prologue. And hey, I'm all for giving characters more backstory, and obviously if you jump right in, someone who hasn't read the comics and stuff like that, they were like, oh, who's this? Is Barbara Gordon? Oh, they wouldn't know that she used to be Batgirl and things like that. But I still, you know, yeah, I would have gone without it. But then again, it would only be a 45-minute long film, and would people feel shortchanged by that? I don't know. It is what it is. I looked through the special features, really disappointing, to be honest. There's like a 17-minute documentary about the making of the film, which features the producers and things like that, and probably the directors and writers, but nothing with the actors. Absolutely zilch. Nothing. Nada. Not a zip of Mark Hamill, of Kevin Conroy, these two, you know, legendary voice actors in the Batman, you know, pop culture world, and they didn't even get a single interview with them talking about coming back for this iconic story. I can't believe they didn't even have a 5-minute fluff interview with the two of them. You know, they could have done one together, sit down interview, you know, and just let them shoot the shit. A commentary by the both of them, that would have been fantastic. I mean, the special features, there's the 17-minute doc on the film, then there's like an 11-minute documentary on the music, which I thought was very good, by the way. Really enjoyed the music, and the rest of it is just tat. It's a sneak peek look at The Dark Knight Returns Part 1, which came out 4 fucking years ago. A sneak peek at The Dark Knight Returns Part 2, which came out 3 fucking years ago. There's some sneak peek at, I think, Assault on Arkham, which came out a couple of years ago. I don't understand all these just trailers for all the other Batman things, and it's just like, eh. You know, there are 2 episodes of, there's one from Batman the Animated Series, I think one of the first ones, Christmas with the Joker. That's cool. I like that they put that on there, you know, but yeah, they could have done so much more with this, you know, commentary track, or at least an interview with Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy. But there's probably something like that on YouTube, but you know, I wish it was on disc. You know, it's a special thing. It's a special little movie. You know, warts and all, and with the problems, and you know. So anyway, enough waffling. This video's probably gone on for far too long, as usual. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this, because I did the Friday Night Ritual last week, and a lot of people said I love when you do these kinds of videos, so I thought I would do another one today, and maybe I'll do more of them if the reception to this one is good as well, and you guys like this style of video. And it's very easy to do for me. I mean, I could sit here and talk all night long, so there we go. I'll see you in the next one.
I am called King Computer.